Can someone please explain to me how what's going on in Kenya right now still hasn't created some sort of a chain reaction all over Africa? How? Because what's going on in Kenya right now, they're trying to pass a bill that was going to increase people's taxes all over Kenya. And the population was not having it. They got so mad, that they went into official government buildings to shake things up. And the rest of Africa is just watching like, that's a really good movie to watch. They're doing good over there. And nobody's like, hey, what about our taxes? Maybe we should do the same. Yes, maybe you should be doing the exact same. Listen, they tried to pass this bill in Kenya and it failed. But let me tell you this. This bill or a similar bill has already been passed in so many other African countries. And right now, I'm going to talk about this particular country where I know that this bill has already been passed. Congo. Do you know how expensive the taxes are in Congo? Do you know how much it costs to bring a container in Congo? I bet you didn't know because you don't pay attention to these things. That's the reason why people can't do business in Africa. Because it's too expensive to bring anything in the country. The taxes are so high. And I don't understand why all these African countries, they're just watching Kenya. They're just watching Kenya like, oh my God, they're doing good over there. You should be doing the same. You should be doing the same. Taxes are too high in Africa. Too high. Especially in Congo. And the people of Congo, listen, the people of Congo are too nice, way too humble to do anything. And I really hope that the youth of Congo will stand up like the youth of Kenya and do something about this. Africa, this is your signal. This is your signal. Do something. Do something.
Just recently, we saw Kenyans come out in large numbers to protest against a bill that was proposed. Yeah, we saw youths, we saw Gen Zs come out in large numbers to fight against a bill that was proposed by the president. And some of you didn't even want to know why we were so against that bill. Some of you even called us names. You didn't even want to know why these people were protesting so hard. Yeah, some of you might say it's just a bill. Why do you have to go out there in large numbers and fight? We saw people losing their lives. We saw people even becoming disabled because some of them lost their limbs. Now, what you didn't know is this bill was going to affect us big time. This was a strategy for some few individuals to start grabbing land from innocent Kenyans. It was a strategy, and that is why we went out there in large numbers to fight against that bill. Yeah.
Whether they attack me or they don't attack me, I don't care about those things. When they sit alone, they know I'm telling the truth. A president can say a lot of things and say nothing at the end. President Ruto has got a platform to speak and not say anything. On Palestine, on Israel, on it, that thing, it is called a diplomatic language. So you stand up and then speak like that about pregnant women who are dying, and then you say we must keep quiet because if we speak, we are attacking the president. No. A Pan-Africanist, when he sees children being murdered, a Pan-Africanist, when he sees occupiers killing the rightful owners of the land, can never sympathize with such people. Palestinians can't give me anything. They can't buy me. Even if they wanted, they are not in no position to give anyone anything. They are in a difficult situation. At the age of 9 and 10, police raided my house, male police, found us sleeping. They were looking for young boys and men. In my house, there were no men. There was only women. My grandmother had 9 children. 8 of them were women. When they searched a full house full of people, they couldn't find men. And those male police had to strip off my mother, take off her clothes in front of me for them to confirm if she's a real woman. If you lived that experience, you will know what the Palestinians are going through. Forceful removal is what we lived in South Africa. We know what it means. Where you wake up tomorrow, yesterday you had all house, land, everything. Tomorrow you have nothing. That's what we're seeing now in Palestine. So many people, 9,000 people killed in weeks. No international warrant of arrest has been issued. The war between Ukraine and Russia has taken only 1,500 people died in Ukraine, 9,000 in Palestine. Yet there is a warrant of arrest against President Putin. He has never bombed a hospital. He has never bombed a refugee camp. Let me tell you, even if the president of Hamas runs into a refugee camp, you have no reason to bomb a refugee camp. Once he runs into a refugee camp, that's the end of it. You're like, guys, you have to stop. We have to find another means to go and take him out there. Once he runs into a hospital, you have to stop. Because here is a pregnant woman who walks into a hospital. She's going to give birth. She doesn't know there is a Hamas president there. She's not part of the people who arrange that the Hamas president must go into a hospital. She gets killed for no reason. And then President Ruto says, I'm with Israel. And then you, the young ones in his party, don't stand up to say, but no, it's not done. It's not done. We did that in the ANC and we got expelled for that. And we regret, no, and we don't have any regret for doing that. The elders have got a potential of destroying the future of young people. That's why they say they've got Africa 2060 vision. But they won't be there in 2060, so I don't know what they are talking about. So you, if you are to be the youth, and the youth that must be taken serious, you must from time to time call your elders to order. That's how Africa is going to realize its potential. These elders have destroyed our continent through dictatorship, through family arrangements, and the youth kept quiet. South Africa was liberated by the youth. When we have time, we'll share that story. The ANC in 1940s was dead until Mandela came in as the youth, and Walter Sisulu and O.R. Tambo developed what they called a program of action that revived the ANC, and ANC adopted it in 1949. ANC was a sweetheart organization which used to fight through letters to London. This youth said we must take up arms and fight now. The ANC agreed in 1949. That's what made the ANC to be what it is. When they got arrested in the 60s, down the line in the 60s, Steve Biko emerged, was a young person, black consciousness. That led to 1976, that was the youth. What O.R. Tambo said to the youth of South Africa in the 80s, render South Africa ungovernable and unworkable. The youth did that. In 1985 and 1986, South Africa had a permanent protest every day to a point where martial law was declared, state of emergency, twice in 1 year. Because they declared the first one, the youth were saying, we don't care, do what you want to do. They had to declare another one because they thought the youth didn't hear. But they heard and they were defiant. And that's what brought 1994 because of the youth of the 80s. So the youth of Kenya can make Kenya politics to be what you want them to be. President Ruto is a new, fresh air. Because, it has always been like, it is has to go between the Odingas and the former president, the Kenyattas. So when he came in, we're like, we now are graduating the, what do you call it, family dynasty. We said the family dynasty arrangement is going away. We said this was a perfect Pan-Africanist. I'm not denouncing him as not being a Pan-Africanist. All I'm saying is, stay true to what you are saying. It doesn't matter how many people are criticizing you or not.
Do y'all remember the animated movie called A Bug's Life that came out in 1998? The main character of the movie's name is Flick, and he's an ant. And he's a part of this colony of ants that stack food for these grasshoppers that come only once a year. Somewhere along the way in the movie, Flick messes up the food and the grasshoppers are upset. So much so that they threaten the ants and the ant colony, like pretty much run us our food. So Flick goes on an adventure. He goes out into the city to see if he could recruit some people to help to fight against these grasshoppers. He ends up bringing back some other insects that he found in the city that were really a circus troupe and weren't really about that life. But in the process, he and the rest of the colony recognized that there was more of them than there were of the grasshoppers. That all that the grasshoppers had were imitation tactics, threats of violence, the appearance that they were bigger and more menacing. So when the grasshoppers initially demanded that they provide more food and added tax on top of it, and the ant colony recognized, wait a minute, there's way more of us than there is of y'all. Well, the movie is a literal metaphor for colonialism. And what we are seeing from the youth in Kenya is that colony, that community that understands that there are strengths in numbers. Kenya's finance bill is a strong arm of the people. It would tax people heavily on basic everyday necessities like bread, sugar, and even sanitary products and diapers. And the Kenya said, nah, we not gonna accept that. And because there's more of us than there are of y'all.
So apparently the government was going to tax any freehold land. And this means that any land that is not owned by the government was going to start paying rates. Now, remember, people who live in rural areas live in ancestral lands, yeah? And these people have never paid any taxes. They've never paid any rates. Then suddenly they're being ambushed with those kind of taxes. Majority of these people are very old, majority of them don't work, and you still expect them to start paying rates. Where do you want them to get money to pay these kind of rates? And if at all they differ, then their land is repossessed by the government. Where do you expect these people to go and start? Where do you expect these people to live? And where do you expect them to get their daily meal? Because majority of them are farmers. They have land where they farm. That is where they get their foods. And some of the food that they get from their land, they sell them. And that is how they survive. So if at all you take away their land, how do you expect these people to survive? And like I said, majority of them are very old. Yeah, because most young people are in the cities, right? Like Nairobi, majority of people who are in the cities are the young people. This was a strategy for these greedy leaders to start grabbing land from Kenyans, from innocent Kenyans. We thought that after the settlers had gone, we thought things would go back to normal. Yeah, we thought people would live freely in their own land. But now, the same people are still using our leaders to grab land from us. Kenyan people don't have faith with this government anymore because our leaders are being misled. Yeah, the white people want to invade Africa again, and now they're using our leaders. Yeah, they're trying to be smart. They're not using force like they used before. They want to invade Africa by using our leaders. Yeah, and they use tricks, and our leaders can't see this because it will affect us. And these leaders forget that it will also affect them. African people, listen and wake up. Listen and wake up. You need to join forces. Otherwise, these people will invade your land again. These leaders are looting and grabbing anything they lay their hands on. Yeah? Look at Congo. Look where it is now. These people pay a lot of taxes. And that movie explains the situation in Congo. It explains better the situation in Congo. African people, we need to come together. We need to join forces and fight against these corrupt leaders. You have a voice, say no. Use your voice to say no to these corrupt leaders. Kenyan youths didn't just fight for Kenya. Kenyan youths fought for the whole of Africa. And that is what we want other African countries to do. Don't just sit there when you're being controlled by dictators, when you're being controlled by greedy people. Because these people already have what you don't have. They have lands, they have everything they need in their life. Yeah, they lack nothing. They sleep well, they eat well, they travel using planes. Some of us still walk to date. We walk when we go to our workplaces, and we are quiet. You have a voice, use it. African people, come together, join hands and fight against these people. They want to loot everything. They want to grab everything that you own. Whatever Ruto and his counterparts wanted to do was exposed. And you people, you need to keep doing the same. Expose any corrupt leaders out there. Whichever country you are in, expose these leaders without fear.